Welcome to the fourth episode of the Vena Show. Hope everyone is doing well today. I have got an exciting guest coming on, but like I do before all my guests come on, I have a few books. I'm adding more and more books every day, so I'm not going to get too involved in the books. But the first one, as you know, is Lindsey Graham's Patriot Barbie Alphabet Prayers for Toddlers. Excellent book, especially if you've got young kids learning their alphabet and you want to introduce Christian stories to your kids. This is an excellent book. This is Lindsey Graham's Alphabet Prayers for Toddlers. The next book that I'm trying to get into, it's a difficult read, but it's really good. It really helps teach people exactly what is going on and how our kids are being indoctrinated in our schools, through the internet, everything like that. That's going to be Dr. James Lindsay's book, The Queering of the American Child. I've read the first chapter, which is the queer history. Very interesting. Like I said, I've read it a few times and I'm still trying to understand it. The next chapter is how they introduce queer theory into the schools. So if you're looking for a book to understand exactly kind of like what is going on and how this all got started, I recommend picking up James Lindsay's book, The Queering of the American Child. The other thing that I'm going to be talking about a lot is social media and kids. And I came across a lady through my death scrolling on Instagram. Her name is Heidi Chance, and she was a 27-year police officer that was really heavily involved in social media and how they prey on our kids. I'm going to have her on sometime in August. But if you're looking for a book to know exactly how to spot some of the evil that's going on on our social media with our kids, I haven't got into it yet, but it's called Talk to Them, and this is by Heidi Chance. I picked this up on Amazon. Really, so far it looks like a good book. The one thing that I saw when I first opened it, I'll just quote it from her. It says, "You cannot raise your child like your parents raised you because you were not raised in a world that no longer exists." They're raised in a world that no longer exists. We grew up in a very, very cool time. I did. No social media. We were out playing on our bikes, water balloons, all that kind of stuff. And now with social media, it's a whole new front that parents have to fight. And I believe that this book, I'm going to get into it and I'm going to have her on the podcast. But I believe this book is really going to shed some light on exactly what is going on with social media and our kids. Without further ado, I want to introduce my next guest, Harrison Tinsley. I not only do I consider him a friend, but I consider him a brother, a father that is fighting for his kid, for his son, and he's got some really good news to bring up, and I'm so stoked for Harrison. But without further ado, let's please welcome Harrison Tinsley to the show.
Hey man, thanks you so much for having me. I'm stoked to be part of it.
Yeah,
Consider you a brother too.
Yeah, how's everything going, brother?
It's been amazing, man. I just feel so blessed right now. It's like one of those times in life where the stars are just aligning and everything is going good. So I'm just trying to be thankful and cherish it while it lasts.
Yeah. So before we get really deep into on how's everything going the last, it's been 3 weeks now that you've had your son full time?
Something like that. I mean, technically, I sort of had him on a temporary basis full time the last few months, but from an official order, 3 weeks, something like that.
Dude, that's so rad, dude. I'm so stoked for you, brother.
Yeah.
So if people don't know, and I don't know how they would not know about you and your story, if you could just give a brief history of the last 2-3 years on how you've got from where it started to where it's been now.
The story's 4.5 now. So it's been 4.5 years. I was dating a girl in the Bay Area. She got pregnant. She decided to keep the kid from me. I filed in court 2 months after he was born. I wasn't told when he was born. I was told about a week after, just from social media. and I filed in court 2 months later. Court took 13 months just for me to meet him. So in spite of me actively trying to see him, being involved in the pregnancy, being excited, I didn't meet him until he was 15 months old. It was a tragedy. You know, it was a lot of pain and suffering, but I'd like to think it made me a stronger, better man to be more capable of taking on what I've taken on since and what I'm taking on today. And I finally got to meet him. It was amazing. You know, straight magic in the air when I met him, and I visited with him as much as I could. And I moved to the Bay Area, and I was awarded half custody like immediately. I'm super thankful for that. Then it was right around that time. Besides one Facebook post when his mom was pregnant, she did post, you know, baby Sawyer due in December. I'll love you whether you're a boy or girl or neither. However, till this point, it seemed that she had actually treated him as a boy,
Right.
in spite of that Facebook post. And when I won half custody, though, she started just really defaming me and harassing me online, saying just the most horrific things about me that weren't true at all, and started to try to say Sawyer was non-binary, started identifying that way herself, started trying to call Sawyer they and put him in dresses sometimes.
She was saying that she was non-binary too?
Yeah, right around the same time.
Interesting.
And still does. So she still identifies that way or whatever.
Right. And she's not married, no boyfriend, nothing like that?
Well, I don't necessarily know, but I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a criminal protective order on her now, thankfully. But,
yeah. That's dude, again, man. If I wasn't gonna say I wasn't jealous, I would be lying. But I'm glad you got your son, and I'm glad that your son is gonna be in a safe, protective home, with the safe parent. You know, with his father to raise him the right way, and not confuse that little boy. But keep going. I'm sorry. I'm super stoked for you,
thank
brother.
you.
Yeah,
I know. Thank you. I mean, we're gonna save Aiden. We're gonna save more kids too. This is just the first one, and hopefully we can start the momentum from here.
Yeah.
But basically, and everyone knows this stuff's insane.
Right.
Even in California. But let's see. So yeah, one half custody. Started getting defamed, harassed, and she started doing that weird stuff to Sawyer. I got a temporary restraining order from family court because the harassment and defamation was so bad. And there were some other little things, you know, broken court orders, normal family court stuff that they don't really care about.
Right.
And then also though his mom was arrested for child endangerment, placed on a 5150. That was while Sawyer was there. There was some pretty crazy allegations from the witnesses, we'll call them, you know,
right,
of threats and violence and stuff regarding the child and the roommates. And but it ended up that CPS decided to do nothing in spite of all of that, and neither did the police.
That's what's crazy to me, Harrison.
The DA, rather.
Right. That's when you were telling me the story, that's what was crazy to me, is that they didn't automatically give you Sawyer right away, even though that there was plain evidence that she was, again, the unsafe parent, and there was domestic violence regards to that. Should have been the red flag to give you 100% custody of this little boy. It should not have. I'm sorry, and when you were telling me the story, it fired me up, dude, because I'm like, looking at this situation, I'm thinking, dude, that's a clear-cut case to give this father, his son, 100% permanently. You know, there's violence next to this child, around this child, and now you have to go back to court to. Thank God you got the 100% custody of this little boy, but at the same time, it took
a lot more.
I know. It's absolutely. Keep going. It fires me up every time I hear this story, dude. About
what it is crazy, man. Like, why is it so hard to keep kids safe? Like, the CPS decided to do nothing after this first incident. They went as far as to try to like deceive me. Even I mean, the lady's like, "Oh, there was just a misunderstanding. There's nothing to worry about." That's completely untrue. Once I got all the police body cam footage, etc., and you know, the DA decides not to press charges in San Francisco, or maybe her parents paid a good attorney. I have no idea what happened there.
Right.
Family court, though, at least did grant me a trial, which I'm super thankful for. I got a 4-day trial. Ended up being 5 days, 5 afternoons. Just a lot of time in family court. Most people get their 20 minutes and that's it. So they did take it, or at least pretend to take it seriously, and we presented all this evidence and police officers. And it just seemed like such a one-sided trial. There was like virtually nothing on the other side, other than just statements.
I've got a question for you. Do you think if she had not messed up like this, do you think it would still be 50-50? Does that question make sense to you? If they're
messed up the more recent time that we haven't gotten to yet, or
yeah.
Oh yeah, 100% it would.
Yeah, so you would still have to share custody, no matter what, if she hadn't made the mistakes that she had made, leading up to you getting 100% custody of your son, correct?
It had to be all of them added up.
Okay.
And obviously I begged the court, I begged CPS. I filed complaints against CPS for not doing anything this time. I filed complaints against the police for not calling me immediately that night. I mean, I did everything I could to hold everyone accountable.
Good.
None of it took. But I did try.
That's crazy to me. That's absolutely insane to me. There's so much evidence to give you your son, and yet they still fought it. They still fought not to give you 100%. Did they ever say, I don't know, did they ever say that why they were fighting it so hard? I'm sure you'll never know. Well, go ahead.
Well, you mean the court?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we get this 5-day trial. I feel super good about it. I feel like we have all the evidence on our side. There's no way we're not going to win. Ends up, court decides to keep custody 50-50, not grant me a permanent restraining order in spite of violation of a temporary one, which is a violation of case law. It makes no sense.
Right.
I got a criminal protective order because of that. Just if you needed more proof than that. They weren't going to rule in any of the gender stuff, so at least they didn't go with the mom's crazy ideas. Sawyer, of course, says he's a boy. Thankfully, he's never bought into it.
Right.
Super thankful for that. He's had me, thank God. But yeah, I mean, so there's that, and there's this incident, and I decide like, okay, well, I'm out of money. I don't know what to do at this point. Like, just devastated. I want to appeal this decision. I decided to go public with my story, and I didn't even know about, at this point in time, you or anything, or this movement really at all, that it was a big thing. And then, I was lucky enough that Daily Wire and Matt Walsh broke my story. It sort of took off, and I just did interview after interview, and then I'm at the Capitol fighting crazy bills in California, and I'm doing movies with you, and so anything I can to spread the message to protect kids.
Yeah. So what was the ground? Going back a little bit, who was your first interview, and how did they find out about you and to get you on to one of the major podcasters that you did? Was there a certain letter, a certain email, a certain something that
the Daily Wire story just went pretty big on Twitter, like an insane amount of views and retweets and big people retweeting it, etc. From like Matt Walsh to Elon Musk, and just crazy people. And my first interview was there was two people that were my first ones. It was Annabella Rockwell. At the time, she was working at PragerU. She's amazing. She interviewed me. And there was also Clint Russell. He's a big libertarian guy. He's amazing. And he hooked me up with, everyone he knows and could help me out with. They both did.
Right.
And I'm super, super thankful to both of them for believing in me and caring about my story. And Sawyer, they both really jump-started everything for me besides the Daily Wire. But those were the first two people to have me on. And then Dad Talk, Eric Carroll had me on. And that was awesome. And, he did everything he could to help me as well.
Yeah.
And then I just went off from there.
Yeah. Did you email somebody? So how did you get your story out there?
I just reported? Randomly emailed.
Okay.
And Daily Wire took it up. This journalist, Mayreed Alordi, Daily Wire, was interested for whatever reason.
Wow.
And just did a bunch of research.
And talked
to me a bunch.
Yeah.
My court documents, everything.
Yeah. And what was, if you can, what was in that email that you sent the Daily Wire? Do you remember exactly what you wrote or what you said in that email to trigger them to pick up your story?
I just said, I'm a single dad in California fighting for my son, and gave some of the details, and probably was like, please help me.
Right.
I think this story could affect people, and they took it. Thankful to them.
Yeah. Thank God for them, right?
Oh, and I never answered your question earlier, actually, about the court. So the court does have to give an explanation. So after that trial, we got the court's decision to keep custody 50-50. They have to explain all the different things that were presented and why they made their decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And to sum it up, basically, they just were like, we believe everything mom said on the witness stand. That, for the most part, that sums up the decision.
So no matter,
to be honest with you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Which is crazy, because we had proven. I had a document presented to court. One of our documents was like 55. I don't remember the exact number, but something like 55 times mom has lied provably to this court. It was crazy. That was one of my documents, even.
Wow.
From lying from things from like when Sawyer was born, her own witness, it was a doctor, this is their witness getting cross-examined by my attorney, thankfully, and he got her to say that when Sawyer was born, that his mom claimed she had a restraining order on me, which wasn't true at all, and I actually have one on her. So
right.
Just such crazy provable lies. It was insane. She's made some serious accusations against me that have been thoroughly debunked, thankfully, and that's actually one good thing the court did say, is that I'm not guilty of her weird fake accusations, and they didn't happen.
Right.
And I'm thankful the court found that, at least. And then, just started doing every interview I could and everything I could to help protect children and fight for the movement. Met so many incredible people like you and Dad Army and Our Duty, Aaron Friday. I just so thankful to be part of it, to be where I am. And my appeal is actually still happening of this. It just takes a long time.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm hoping to win it just on principle, just to prove a point, I guess, like that they messed up.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be absolutely incredible for you.
It would provide case law too.
Yes.
For some of the stuff.
Yeah.
That you could cite even.
Yeah. During your court appearances, did they ever talk about the gender stuff, or did the judge or opposing counsel, were they able to talk about it? And then whenever your attorney or yourself brought it up, did they allow you to talk about it or not?
Not really. The court basically stayed out of it. I can tell you this. So all of my evidence I presented for this trial, we only got to talk about maybe half of it during the trial. So the other half, that her attorney objected to everything I or any other witness said.
Right.
To waste court's time. But I'm not exaggerating, like every single sentence. So it was insane. It was like a sham. And basically, I got maybe half my things I was trying to present to court in at best. So the court has seen them in some written documents a few times.
Right.
But they did not get to get like real testimony on it. And otherwise it's hearsay, quote unquote, until I'm like sworn in talking about it. But, the court saw some pictures and different things and definitely was aware of my position on it. And they said that they declined to rule on it, I believe. So at least they didn't take mom's side on it.
Right.
But yeah.
Did you feel any time in court that the court was listening to you?
Oh, yeah.
Were they listening?
That they were listening to me.
Listening. What do you think?
At the time, like they were, but I can give you an example of bias that I think you might be pretty curious about. And I won't give my answer to this question, but I'm on the witness stand, and this has nothing to do. I'm getting cross-examined by her attorney, and this has nothing to do with anything that I testified to. So when you get cross-examined, it kind of has to be about something you had just talked about on direct examination with your attorney.
Right.
Like, they're not allowed to just be like, by the way, you killed someone 8 years ago, or make up some stupid thing like that, right? But she kind of does. She asked me, and I still to this day don't know how this was allowed or what this relevance of this was, but she asked me if I was vaccinated for COVID-19. My attorney objected, thankfully for me, multiple times. Objection, like irrelevant, objection, assumes facts not in evidence, objection, just HIPAA law, which isn't a real objection, but he has a good point. Like, that's a violation of HIPAA law.
Right.
And the judge was like, no, I want to hear what he has to say.
Of course.
So, and I was just like, whatever. So I just told them. I think the people at home can probably guess my answer to that one. And I just felt like it was just such an obvious example. Like, what was the point of that other than to sway some sort of political bias? Like, I genuinely don't understand.
Yeah, I mean,
It had
that
nothing to do with our child.
no, and that happened to my child too. My attorney, they spent 45 minutes talking about the gender assessment and gender, and then when my attorney goes to speak on it, the judge says, "Oh, we're not here for gender debate." And my attorney goes, "Wait a second, Your Honor. You just allowed opposing counsel to speak on it for 45 minutes and I can't talk on it?" He goes, "No, we're not here for a gender debate." Like,
Interesting.
yeah. What's his name? Mark Juhas out of Los Angeles. He didn't want to hear about it. But that's what 90% of the trial was about the whole gender stuff, and he didn't want to hear somebody else that was against it talk about it. You know, I mean, that's just one bias on my side. You know, they don't want to hear about the gender stuff. They don't want to hear an opposing argument in regards to the gender. I don't even know what you call it. The gender stuff. You know, so it's.
You know what? You actually just made me. One thing did happen. So when that doctor was on the stand, that was their opposing witness. Also on cross-examination, my attorney asked her some of this gender stuff. And this doctor actually said on the witness stand, I have transcript of all of this, that she thinks it's okay to treat kids as non-binary when they're that young. And that her clinic or whatever, her place, it transitions kids as young as 12, and there's a place down the street that does it to kids as young as 6.
And when you mean by
that's an actual thing that was said during my trial.
Right. And when she meant that, did she mean like social transitioning or?
It's a good question that we didn't exactly have the answer to.
Yeah.
It's a good question. It felt like it meant more legit, but maybe it was just social to be fair. I mean, I think both are evil and wrong, but.
I mean, coming from this, because what's going on with my son, whether it's social or medication or surgeries, whether she says she's transitioning a child as young as 12, I'm thinking, in my opinion, I'm thinking medications and surgeries without permission. I mean, that's the way I look at it. You know, I'm not looking at it just social. I'm looking at everything. I mean, no matter what, you're damaging a child at a very, very young age.
Either way. It leads to either way. And what else would she be talking about when she says that?
Right.
I doubt she means like, I treat them how they want when they come in. It sounded more legitimately like treating them than that. But again, I can't really say, and I don't.
Right. It'd be
we shouldn't be doing that for any kids.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And it's absolutely frustrating that we're sitting here now today having to discuss gender or sex, however you want to put it. You know, we both know that there's two genders in this world, you know, and you don't treat a child as young as my son and as young as your son is. That is absolutely so wrong. I'm so glad that your son.
It is.
I'm so glad that your son did not get to the point where therapists or doctors or other people were pushing it heavier on him. I mean, I think you really, really dodged a bullet, Harrison, and I'm so happy that I'm so happy that little boy is nowhere near her, nowhere near the attorneys, nowhere near those judges to brainwash that little boy's mind and damage it more than it already has. You know.
Yeah, dude, me too. I mean, it's just, I was very proactive though, you know, I was in on like everything I could be, just fighting for it and just trying my best to talk to him.
Yeah.
You know, but I actually got the chance to talk to him all the time and had half custody and now full custody, thank God.
Yeah.
But.
And you've got full say in absolutely everything in that little boy's life.
Yeah, well, we'll get to exactly what it kind of states now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do.
That's awesome, dude. So what exactly... So real quick, let's talk about something positive. What has it been like the last few weeks to have Sawyer 100%?
It's amazing. It just seems so surreal. It's like a dream come true, you know?
Yeah.
It's hard to even it's hard for it to even feel real. It's just, it's incredible though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super thankful.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's amazing. Have you done anything super major for him since having him 100%? Baseball games, fishing, snowboarding. Well, you can't go snowboarding. It's the middle of July.
We went in winter snowboarding for sure. But
I know. I saw that video.
Was pretty sick. We rode some motorcycles and blasted off a lot of fireworks.
Oh, nice. Did you like all that?
Oh, he loves those things both. Yeah.
That's so awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's so rad, dude. So now that you have him 100%, what is the besides having 100%, what is the ultimate goal now for you and Sawyer? If that makes sense.
To have him have a good life and a bright future that we have to still fight for sure. And, hopefully just teach him good values and have him grow up to be a good man. And hopefully he has, kids himself. And hopefully I can give him some brothers and sisters and just
That's right, because you just got married.
With meaning.
You just got married, didn't you?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Look at that big old smile, folks. Congratulations, dude. That's awesome, brother.
Yeah, thank you. And that only happened because of all this, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Has the transition or been easy for Sawyer, or has there been some hiccups with being with dad 100% now?
No, it's been actually really easy.
Really?
I'd say when we had half custody it was harder because he would have more tantrums and things like that. But he's honestly, after having 3 or 4 months just with me, for the most part, he's just has this stable, steady routine and environment. He's kind of just thriving and just doing a lot better and really, really well.
That's awesome, dude. Again, I'm super stoked for you, brother. Super stoked for you. Well, I want to talk more about do you think we're getting enough people talking about this? Do you think enough people are really, really hammering down on this whole gender stuff, this whole gender stuff I think it's really happening major here in California with the passing of, AB 1955. We've got SB 107 that's affecting Jeff Younger 100%. We've got all these crazy bills that are separating parents from children or keeping secrets from parents. But do you think when it solely comes down to the whole gender stuff, the transitioning, the medications, the surgeries, do you think enough people and enough important people are talking about this?
I'll say one thing. I mean, seeing Elon Musk step up the way he has, not only talking about it and being vulnerable and telling his actual personal story to Jordan Peterson, but to go as far as to move his businesses out because of this bill, 1955. Yeah. I mean, he's an American hero, and that's what we need more of. I think that people are starting to wake up to it and see it for what it is. I have a friend who told me recently that she spoke at a high school and that the high school kids were all so worried about their younger brothers and sisters because how young these kids are getting introduced to this stuff now. And we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg, but so many of these kids are so young that are getting taught it now in every TV show and everything they see it do, and every teacher at school talking about it to all these kids since they're 4 years old now.
Yeah.
It's going to get worse unless we put a stop to it now. I think people need to start speaking up. I think most people are against this nonsense. They know it's insane. They know it's wicked and evil. And we have to fight it no matter what it takes. And more people need to talk about it, speak up, be brave, not just think it's wrong and sit there and do nothing. This is your World War II, your Star Wars, Lord of the Rings moment. You want to be a part of something, you watch a movie or think back on history, I'd be one of the good guys, or I'd shelter, a slave or a Jew or whatever you think, and pretend you'd see yourself on the good side of history. Here's your chance. We're talking about protecting kids from irreversible damage. You should probably speak up right effing now. Yeah.
And it's no longer time to be scared or worry about what people are thinking. We're losing a whole generation of children, and it's only getting worse. To be honest with you, Harrison, I don't see enough people talking about this. I don't see the major people that make the major decisions here in the United States talking enough about this. you know, and that's what's, I mean, I watched the 4 days of the RNC, and I didn't hear shit about it. I might have heard one person talk about it, and everything that we're dealing with here in the United States, we've got the border, we've got the fentanyl, we've got all this crap that's going on, right? Which is very important because it affects you and me, and it affects everybody. But our children, they did not spend enough time talking about the kids. They did not spend enough time talking about surgeries. They didn't spend enough time talking about, these, puberty blockers, the cross-sex hormones. And to me, it's very disheartening to see a party that I have supported basically for my whole entire life, and they're not talking about it. The people that make the decisions here in the United States to write the laws, sorry, it was a bad day for me, and I'm venting on the RNC, but I just never heard them not once talk about any of this stuff. And do you think we have enough people talking about it? Besides you, me,
big people, yeah.
Aaron Friday, we got Aaron Fridays, we got Freedom Angels talking about this. I mean, Aaron Friday and Denise and Tara are on the front lines because they live up there, and they pretty much started this whole, thing. I'm grateful for those 3 people
all amazing, yeah.
Yeah. But we need some of the bigger people like Elon. We need more Elon Musks to talk about this stuff. And I just don't see it.
It's such a winning issue too. Like you're saying, like the RNC, like it should be it should be up there with, the border and all these other assassination attempts, all these crazy things.
Yeah.
That are totally insane and affect the country so much, but so do children because they're literally the future.
Right.
They're quite literally the future of the country.
Yeah.
So protecting them should definitely be up there. I think it should be a major platform and, talking point for any candidate or anyone who's involved politically at all. I don't see how it wouldn't, especially because everyone agrees with it. Like every single moderate and most Democrats, even in California, I talk to them. They're all against keeping any secrets from parents or transitioning kids in any way. So why wouldn't we put a stop to this and actually talk about it as opposed to just pretend it's not happening or that it's like an insane one-off? It's like, no, it's actually in every single city in the entire country.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not talking enough about it. They're not talking enough about what's going on with our kids. And it's, I mean, we've got Alex Balekian down here. I probably messed up his name, but he's the only candidate that's running in California that actually talks about what's going on with kids, what they're doing to kids. You've got Steve Garvey that's running for the same position, and that guy he doesn't talk anything about it,
Right.
And he's the front runner. And he hasn't mentioned anything about what they're doing to kids, and it's just disheartening to listen to these people say they want to do better for the state of California, but yet you've got a bunch of kids that are going to get ruined if they don't say something about it,
Yeah, I mean, how many transitioners do they need to see? Chloe Cole and Laura Becker and all these incredible people that have been brave enough to come out, and talk about their stories. We're just going to see more and more of that. And it's only going to be worse and worse because they're doing it to kids younger and younger now. So yeah, I mean, especially California obviously leads the way, and I would hope that we can. I mean, if we stop it though, I think we will stop it for the entire country. But hopefully, someone like Trump or RFK Jr. could put a stop to this because it's just insane.
Yeah, if depending on who gets in, it's still not going to.
If Kamala gets in, they're going to go all in on it.
Oh, we're going to be, we'll be in.
That's pretty clear.
Yeah, we'll be in worse shape than we are right now if she gets in. But let's hope not. But again, it's states' rights, and I don't know how that whole works between federal and state. But I mean, Trump could come in, or RFK Jr. could come in and be like, all right, we're going to put a ban on everything. But can California still do it, even though they're states' rights?
They can and they can't, right? So California already does disobey federal law as far as some of the immigration stuff goes, right? We know that for a fact with sanctuary cities and things like that. So they're already blatantly disregarding federal law. Although, of course, if the president or whomever federal government really wanted, they could force the issue much stronger.
Yeah.
They're capable of really making a big deal about it. And I think this is one
Yeah.
where we need to, because, kids are innocent and amazing, and we have to protect them no matter what. It's our duty, our responsibility. And it's insane that anyone is just sitting quietly and not speaking up at this point.
Yeah. And if you're not going to look at it as kids, look at it as future voters. I mean, if you really want to, look at it as a future, that's your future, vote right there. Look at it, look at it that way. Let's get back to your son, because I think that it's so important that a California father gained 100% custody of his son. And I think that's huge news.
In San Francisco, too, part of it. I mean, that or LA, those are got to be the two worst in the country, right?
Yeah, I don't think you could get any worse than San Francisco. I mean, you've got Mr. Scott Wiener down there that's writing all these bills. Well, going back to he's really weird. I don't want to go too far. I don't want to give him any glory than he thinks he needs. But going back to AB 9, we'll go back to Protect Kids bill real quick. Do you think if we would have had bigger talking heads talking about this at the beginning, do you think that they could have passed that bill for 2024?
I think it's possible. I don't remember if I was ever informed of the total tally of how many.
Yeah, we got
how many people we got.
Yeah, 400. I think we got right around 400,000 signatures.
And what we needed 800, or did we need
5? We need like 5,500 to get that bill.
550,000.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, so not that much more.
No, we were like 100,000 short, something like that, from getting that bill.
You see Donald Trump and people like that were speaking up about the ballot initiative constantly. Even Tucker Carlson, absolutely.
Yeah, we could have got
without question. Then we would have got another 150,000.
Yeah. Do you plan on homeschooling Sawyer?
Let me think for a second how I want to answer this. I'm going to definitely do what's best for Sawyer. I think homeschooling right now seems to be a better trajectory for children than the current situation of government schools, especially when they pass bills like AB 1955.
Yeah. That's a scary one. Because then if you get Sawyer in there, you're going to be in the same boat, but with the government.
Exactly.
Oh man, it's insane. So, you have any major trips for you and your son planned? You're going to take him to a baseball game? Don't tell me you're going to take him to a Giants game.
It would be the Giants, but we more commonly go to the San Jose Sharks hockey or San Francisco 49ers, because it's basically San Jose 49ers now.
Right.
Those are both a little closer.
Right.
So, but Giants, we might go to a Giants game too.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I feel bad for Sawyer. No, I'm joking. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's fun.
No, it's a lot of fun. We do a lot of fun stuff.
I noticed that. I noticed you're a very hands-on father, Harrison.
Yeah. I just try to do cool things with him and, see what he loves. And I feel like my dad did a good job of doing sports and taking me places like the Niners game or Giants game, all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, me and my wife even actually took him to see Third Eye Blind recently. That was pretty cool.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
That's so awesome, dude.
It was
cool. 4.5 years old going to a concert.
Yeah.
So do you have anything, now that you have your son 100%, besides you're focusing on making sure he's raised right, do you have any plans for, I don't know, because for me, when I think about if I had my son 100%, I'd be taking him all over the place. I would take him to Wyoming. I would take him to, all these major sites. Do you have any of those plans for you and Sawyer?
Well, we went to Tahoe recently, and that was fun. We're going somewhere in Northern California that I won't disclose, that our family goes on once a year, every year. That's pretty cool. I'm stoked for that. That's kind of like a camping sort of thing. And, other than that, nothing comes to mind, but we often go to the beach and do cool things like that.
That's super cool, dude. So
Yeah.
we're gonna cut it not short, but do you have any, I guess, call to actions or anything? Go ahead, brother.
I do have call to actions, but
Yeah.
I feel like I never really explained exactly what transpired to me getting full custody.
Oh, yes. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's all good.
Go ahead.
But basically, yeah, I mean, I'm part of this movement with you, doing all these interviews, have this appeal going. And one day I just get a call, or a bunch of calls, really. And I see that I have these missed calls and voicemails, and it's like from the police. My son's mom's been arrested, and I need to get Sawyer. And I go and get him, ask him what happened, and then I get the police report. His mom had gotten into a physical altercation with her father, a very serious one, with blood, and she broke his nose, possibly, and all these crazy things. And Sawyer, unfortunately, had to witness it and get involved in it. He was like hiding at first, and then he kind of snuck up to see what was happening. And he snuck up with like his kid's baseball bat, plastic, or something like that.
Right.
And according to Sawyer, his mom said, oh, hit him in the face. So he did. And according to his mom, it did happen, but she didn't instruct him to. She claims that he just did it on his own. Either way, I don't know what normal parent. First of all, I believe Sawyer, but I don't know what happened. But either way, what parent wouldn't tell the 4-year-old to run away or something and not be involved in a physical fight like that? But so he did, which is good. I think it's admirable that he would do that for his mom. But I think it's a horrific thing that no 4-year-old should go through. That's way too young to see something like that. And
absolutely,
it's even in the police photo evidence. There's blood on a kid's baseball bat or whatever it was. So pretty crazy stuff. And I actually filed an ex parte the next day in court. And the family court denied it. And they pretty much, to my understanding of family court, had to grant that temporarily, considering the allegations made.
Yeah.
But they actually didn't, which is insane. But thankfully, CPS in San Francisco, California said, that's okay. We're not going to let that happen because that's insane. And they took custody and gave it to me temporarily for a few months while they did a thorough investigation. And they took family court out of it. They just said, okay, we're taking it to our court, dependency court. And
what is dependency court?
It's basically CPS's court, and it overrules and is higher up than family court.
That's scary.
Yeah, but
it worked out in your favor.
Case.
Yeah, it worked out in your favor.
And these people really put politics aside and seemed to just do what was best for the safety and well-being of the child. And, the mom tried to say crazy stuff about me and political stuff.
And weren't you getting a little...
CPS still did their job.
Yeah, and weren't you getting a little tug of war between you and the CPS on one CPS person said one thing and then the other one said another thing? Is that how that went down?
There was tension. I mean, because I let them know immediately because this other thing, that first CPS thing had happened. I was like, if you do anything, and my mom even said this to him too, like, you will be sued. Without question, you'll be held legally responsible. So we let them know that from the get-go. And maybe that played into it too, but it did seem like at least the CPS workers themselves, there's one who initiated it and then one who kind of did the case for a few months, really both cared about Sawyer and just doing the right thing and didn't care about any of that. And it turned out too that this was the third thing. There was actually a second CPS investigation that I was never informed of that happened on Halloween. Another altercation with her dad or something that Sawyer was there for.
Huh.
I don't know how no one told me about that, but yeah.
How could they not tell you had 50% custody? How could they not tell you about that?
It's a great question, but I have literally no idea.
Dude, that's crazy, dude. That's crazy.
And so, I mean, I know it's a hard thing to take a kid away from their parent for court or CPS or whoever, but I really feel that thank God I got the CPS worker I did.
Yes.
And, they did their job. They put politics aside, just cared about Sawyer. They did the right thing in San Francisco. And I just feel like it was a miracle that I got the CPS workers that I did.
Yeah, I'm glad I never had to deal with the CPS workers or anything like that. So very, very, very grateful that I didn't have to deal with them. I'm glad that they saw it your way, the way you've always been preaching it and talking about it through all your podcasts and your interviews on TV. I'm so happy that the judge and the CPS finally granted you the 100% custody, dude. I really am.
So basically, like,
Yeah.
CPS recommended full custody, and I was in agreement with that, and Sawyer's attorney was in agreement with that, and so it's basically like a 3-on-1, and there was going to be a trial over it, and so we were trying to settle it before the trial, and we did, actually, and that's to Mom's credit too, and essentially she agreed to this, and so did CPS and stuff. But to giving me full physical custody of Sawyer, split legal custody, but I have the final decision-making ability, which is incredible and obviously very important. And then, just some that she has drug and alcohol testing, things like that.
Yeah, I was going to ask if she had to do anything like anger management or child abuse classes or anything like that.
I don't know exactly what stuff CPS had her do the last 4 months. It was probably some of that stuff, but I wasn't privy to know exactly what it was. But for right now, it's just the testing.
Very, very interesting that you didn't know. They won't tell you what.
I asked. I straight out asked multiple times, yeah.
And they won't tell you, just the drug and alcohol.
They're not allowed to. Yeah, they weren't allowed to for, I don't know if it was HIPAA law or what it was.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That I would really hope that she would have to take some child endangerment classes or some type of child abuse classes for what she put Sawyer through those 2 times.
Yeah.
Because I had to do anger management and child abuse classes, and I never did anything to my son, never did anything to her, but I still had to take those classes. So, hopefully she has to.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, hopefully she has to sit in on at least one of those classes. So
yeah,
it's so crazy to me how this family court system is, in my opinion, seems to be against the father in a lot of these cases. Do you?
It feels that mothers have a better shot in family court for sure.
Do you feel that you ever were listened to in court thoroughly? I think I already asked you that, but
well, not exactly, right? Because I didn't get to present all my evidence, even in the trial, right? The one time you feel like I felt like maybe I was going to have my chance to actually get to say what I wanted and present all my evidence. I didn't actually get to present all my evidence. We didn't even get to cross-examine my son's mom. It was insane. It was like a joke of a trial, like to not be able to cross-examine the main witness that they made all the decisions based on.
Right. And what was their reasoning behind not being able to cross?
Time. It was just time. Nothing else.
That's insane. We're dealing with a child here, and you're worried about time.
Yeah,
worried about time. It's really, really sad to see where we're going, where we're heading. And I don't even care about half the other stuff. I just care about what's going on with my kid and what's going on with other kids and what they're pushing. And it's really sad to see where we're heading. Especially here in the state of California, and we got Jeff Younger heading to court on the 2nd of August, and I think that's going to determine a lot in regards to his little boy. That's going to determine
I'm praying for Jeff. He's a really good guy, really good man.
Yeah.
I was in Texas one time for some interviews, and he took the time to spend like a day with me.
Wow.
And without even knowing me, such a good guy. It's just so not right what's happening to his son, or even considering that they would do that. Breaking, if I'm not mistaken, court orders from Texas and California. It's just, I don't know how this is being allowed to happen.
I don't either.
I pray for some sort of miracle that judge doesn't let it happen.
Yeah, but he's got the same judge as I do.
Yeah, not a good sign, but we'll see.
No, but I'm praying for Jeff, praying for his son that it doesn't go through. That it does not go through. So Harrison, let's give what's your call to action? 1, for you and your son, and 2, what would your call to action for parents be?
Well, as far as me and Sawyer go, if you can check me out on any social media at Harrison Tinsley. I have a give, send, go for me and Sawyer. Sawyer's mom can actually file to change custody any day she wants in family court. Unfortunately, it's not like this is an unbreakable thing. It is actually harder to overturn than our normal family court orders, so I'm stoked on that. But I have a give, send, go / saving Sawyer. I'm just going to do everything I can to keep spending time with him and just being the best, most present dad I can be. My call to action is the time in history is right now to say what you believe, to be courageous, to speak the truth. No more sitting on the sidelines. If we all just say what we believe, we can end this stuff. We can protect the children, win the war on children. The time's right now.
Absolutely. Let's go. And my call to action, like on every episode, is going to be bring back the dinner table, parents. We need to sit down at the dinner table with our kids and talk. Put the phones away, turn them off, and sit down and talk with your kids. You're going to find out so much from your kids if you guys sit down at dinner and talk. That's my call to action. Bring back the dinner table. Harrison, I appreciate you, brother. I'm super stoked for you. Enjoy that little boy as much as you can. Give that little boy a hug every single minute you can. And I will. You and I will be talking here soon. But I'm super stoked for you, brother. Man. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Save Aiden.
Yeah. Save Aiden. Thank you, brother. I know. Yeah. Everybody. I just gotta, before we end here, Harrison. He ends a lot of our podcasts, or anytime that him and I talk together, or we talk with everybody else. He always throws it out there, and Harrison, I appreciate that, dude. I really do.
I throw it out on random podcasts too, not even just when you're there.
I know you do.
Yeah,
I know, and I appreciate your positivity. I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate you having my back. I really do. This month has been June and July have been absolutely the worst 2 months. But I'm grateful that you got your little boy back, dude. And the courts saw it your way. So, hold on to that little boy all the time. All right, brother?
I will, man.
All right, dude. Well, I'll give you a call later on this weekend. All right?
All right, bro. Take care.
Yeah, you too, brother. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Harrison's my friend, my brother, he's one legit person. So, until next Wednesday, thank you very much, and we will see you next Wednesday. Bye.